Good afternoon, everyone. It's 4:02, so let's call to order the meeting of the Friendswood Downtown Economic Development Corporation. Our first order of business is communications from the public. Do we have any communications from the public? I don't see anyone here. Seeing none, we'll move on to the approval of the minutes from our February meeting. And these were sent out in email form, but we have them here on paper form as well. You can still move to approve.
I wasn't here.
I did read them because I wanted to make sure I was a little up to date. I move to approve the minutes as presented.
Thank you. And seconded by Bubba. Yep. Any further discussion on the minutes? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Minutes are approved. Next, agenda item number 4A. Discussion and possible action on the downtown lighting plan, text dot curbs, ramps, sidewalks, traffic signals project. I think we have some plans to review and updates.
There we go. So good afternoon, everyone. So quickly, the update from last meeting, I know we discussed that it had been let and it was moving forward. The contractor that has been listed is Tyzac Concrete, Inc. They are out of Minnesota. However, they do work from North and South Dakota all the way down to Texas, all through the Midwest. So looking at their website, it looks like we're in good hands for the TxDOT project. The item that was brought up last month, or one of the items that was brought up in regards to the downtown project was the easements that the city was tasked in retrieving from the property owners. One of the holdouts has been Friends Church. We have spoken to them and we have made contact with them. And Jeff, if you'll please put that up on the screen, just so everyone has an idea. Friends Church is going to be the property. They're spreading out. So on the bottom side of that plan there, you can kind of see how the sidewalk starts outside of or away from the back of curb and then kind of juts down in front of some trees and the back around some trees, and does so for about half of the property. And so one of the items that came upon us was the easements that were going to be needed. And then you'll see here in this light blue color, those are the easements that would be required for the city to pick up from the church. We had a conversation and with a few folks there. They are open. They look forward to having the sidewalks there. We plan to meet with them next week to go over the exact location in regards to these plans and what we're looking at for those easements. They have, I think, a couple of arborists on staff for the trees that they currently have, and we're going to have them as well. Councilman Griffon was nice enough to set this up for us to facilitate a meeting for us on site so we can go and we can just discuss it with them. Just for y'all's knowledge, when we look at, let me see if I can bring up the right one here. When we look at these plans, you can kind of see right in here, we have these squares that look like kind of little checkerboard, and that's exactly what they are. They're checkerboards, but they're metal plate checkerboards. And so in these locations, you'll see there's all kinds of notes to protect a tree, And so there's going to be the sidewalk and brick paver ribbon up to these certain points where then they will then install these checkerboard metal plates in order to not disturb the root beds. And if you take a look in the backup material, and I'll bring it up here as well, there is a TxDOT standard for not only this checker plate that is going to go over the roots, but then also there's an entire cut sheet here on how they plan to protect the trees, whether it's trunk protection, root zone protection. Some of this is if things have to be, if roots have to be dug out or dug around, it's all dug by hand. So they take they take a lot of precautions to make sure that these trees don't get harmed during the installation. But we're going to go over this with the church next week, and hopefully that these easements don't change and we can just move forward. If they do, we're going to visit with TxDOT to see what we need to do to make sure the church is comfortable before we move forward. But we did hear today that they were very agreeable, and we're looking forward to the sidewalk project in general.
Is the church agreeable with the chipboard coverings over the roots?
So they do have these plans, and they have reviewed them. So in essence, yes, but they did want to meet on site so we could go over it. If you're familiar with the church, they currently do not have any sidewalks along there, and it's basically the barren footpath for a lot of it. So I think they may look forward to having a walkway there for pedestrians. But again, we do want to make sure that, from the very beginning, Mr. Cox is not here currently, but we made sure in our very first meeting with TxDOT that this was going to be a priority site for the city when moving forward.
Got it. Thank you.
Do the grates, or will the grates go over the root zone area, or will they go around the root zone area?
I believe, and I will confirm this. So on these areas where we have these root zones, or where we have these checker plates, they will take the sidewalk up to a certain point where you will know where you begin to get to that root zone, and the priority is not to disturb the roots, and then to have the checker plate be a pervious surface around those root beds. So thankfully here it's going to be it's a straight line basically. So we're going to have these sidewalks that move forward, hit a certain point, and then it's going to be checker plate until we get past the root zones so we don't disturb them at all.
I guess if you look at big trees with big roots, it's not like they're all perfectly underground. They're sticking out from the base of the tree. So is the checkerboard plate going to be resting on the roots or going to be outside?
No, sir. So there is a small diagram that was provided, if I can find it. So basically they will build, see if I can hunt it down here.
No bridge over it.
So basically that's correct. They're going to be, they will get to a point where they can basically bridge over the roots.
Okay.
And so you're not going to have checker plate resting on top of roots. You're just going to be able to have a solid ADA walking surface from sidewalk to checker plate to sidewalk, and basically traverse over the roots.
Okay.
The key word there was ADA approved. Okay.
Can you go back to the exhibit that shows the easements with the blue? Now, you said the Friends Church was the only one that was holding back. Does that mean that that we've secured an easement to the property to the east?
I would
Across
have to
the
double
street.
check. I'm not sure if the church is the only one that's holding back. They were the largest property owner that was left. We do have I do have a stack of easements that have been signed off on, and most of the property owners downtown have signed off on it. We may have a couple of outliers, but if the church was the only one that had not signed due to some concerns or questions that they had that we wanted to get answered before they would sign.
Okay, so besides the church, the other blue that's shown on there, those are pretty much secured easements?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
We had only had one previously. They did not deny us, but they requested to be compensated for it. And in the end, it was a very, very small corner clip. We asked TxDOT if they had a position on it, and they redesigned around the corner clip that was needed. So we were able to move forward without it. I'm sorry, go ahead.
That's great news. I think a lot of us have been waiting to see how this was actually going to come to fruition. Do you need help from me or maybe from the mayor? Do you need a letter for Friends Church? anything else to encourage them and assure them we're trying to, take very good care of their property in this project too?
In speaking to their senior pastor, I think that they know our position is to protect the church as much as we can. Councilman Griffon is facilitating the meeting next week. So I anticipate having a very good meeting. I don't think that based upon the conversations with Councilman Griffon, the church is very agreeable to having the sidewalks. And they look forward to getting everything situated so we can get it done. So if it comes to that, though, don't worry. I will not hesitate to reach out if I think a little conversation needs to be had or something.
I'll add, I don't think you need it, but I am a member of that church in decent standing. So just as a decent standing, but anyway, but I would think David would be cool about it.
I didn't know we had an ace in the hole.
There's 282 of us. It's a short list.
Just as some additional information, the last month, I think we speculated there was a month or two until the project kicked off. Obviously, they haven't kicked off yet, so we're hoping maybe within the next month or so they'll kick off. And once beginning, they have 180 days to complete the project. So it's going to start up real quick, and I think within the first couple of months we're going to see a lot of work taking place. And so within the next 6 months, it's going to be fairly exciting to see what's going to take place downtown.
Do you anticipate that we need to present something to council for release of funds or approval of any expenditure that we should kind of tee up?
So the
At
only
least in the next month?
The only expenditure that was needed was for the advanced funding agreement that took place at the last meeting, and then it immediately went to the council meeting in March. So that was already agreed to. Okay. I don't believe there's going to be any other expenditures coming up that we're going to need to tee up for them. The good thing about these projects is that they've been spoken at length about in a public forum, and so there is not there's not any hiccup in us getting funding put forward to City Council within an easy time frame. The only thing coming up, and it's the next item, is for the signs and the branding. There may be a need for some funding there, but we're a little early on for me to have an actual amount, so that would come maybe into the April meeting.
Okay, other questions or comments on item 4A? Relatively quiet group today. All right, then let's move on to item 4B, and that would be signage and branding.
Jeff, you can put mine back up, please, sir. Thank you. So I know we spoke about this at the last meeting, the signage and the branding for downtown. I think we focused more on what I've come to know as the ground level stuff, the signs for the entries, and some of the street signs. In the last 2 or 3 weeks, I've gone through the Lauren Griffith plan as a whole and taken the entire appendix for downtown as it stood for the signage and the branding. And there's much more than just the small item, not the small items, but the entry signs and a few things. And then there's a whole synopsis of why this identity was chosen. And so instead of myself and staff trying to really narrow down what we thought, was trying to be said here and what would be important in the package, I've spoken to the director of engineering, Hill, who was here at our last meeting, and talked about the engineering department putting together an RFP. And so we decided that would probably be the best way to go about this, and to have it in a couple of different forms. We'll have an RFP for the entire branding and sign package that was put together by Lauren Griffith. Have them set it up in a manner to where we would have the items that can be taken care of almost immediately, whether it be the entry signs and maybe some of the street signs that are on the existing poles, some of our future items as it pertains when the new lighting goes in, when the new street lights go in, and then kind of a separate category for the identity and the branding, if you will, of the downtown businesses. Part of this package has many items that include not just the color scheme, but also wayfinding. And then these are the ones, these here are the pictures that we've seen multiple times of these signs. But it also has many items for placemaking graphics and items that help some of these businesses stand out, whether it's a sticker, whether it's window stickers, whether it's just decals that identify your business as being in downtown or you being a part of downtown. And so we were going to have a third part of this RFP go ahead and put together the package for these items as well. So the existing businesses are vacant spots that need maybe some sprucing up or some attention drawn to them with a decal for downtown. We would have these available to give to the business owners as well. The hope is to get everything put together and get it reviewed and back in your hands, back in the committee's hands on, this is March, April, before the May meeting for review, and then potentially act on it at the May meeting, depending on how many respondents we have for it.
Great. Questions or comments from the group? When do you anticipate, this is probably on item A, when do you anticipate we'd need to issue the RFP for the poles and the lighting?
So we have 180 days until from kickoff to the project's going to be done for the sidewalks. So within the next month or so, we'd turn engineering loose for the RFP for the lighting as well to get that put into place. And then so if we follow the same timeline as we do for the signage and the branding, instead of April, maybe by the May or June meeting, have a package ready for the group to review and to bring forth a recommendation for it on that RFP.
Okay.
I did have a question for if the RFP, if we go that direction, is there a group of the committee that wants to take part in reviews? Would you just like staff to handle that? Or would the entire committee want to take a look at all respondents?
I think we should all be involved.
That's absolutely, and that's perfectly fine. I just want to make sure that if it was, I don't want to if we get 10 respondents back, I don't want to send out 10 full packages for an RFP and have everybody have to review them if that was not in the thought process. So if that's the case, then that's absolutely fine.
Okay. All right. Any other comments or questions on 4B? Welcome, Ron. Okay, hearing none, we'll proceed on to our item 5, financial report.
And Jeff, I don't think did I provide you with one? I did. Okay, good. I just wanted to be sure. Okay, before I started walking through this here. So for the month of February 2021, the total revenue was $72,876. There was no expenditures for the month of February outside of the transfer to the general fund for city services. The increase in fund balance was a total of $71,543. With an ending fund balance of $1,870,664. And And that amount does include the amount that was approved at the last meeting for the $10,870 for the advanced funding agreement.
Okay, I think we're looking good there. We're pleased with those revenues. Are there any questions or comments about finances for this month? Okay, I don't think we need a report or we don't need an action to accept that, do we? Okay. Well, we are moving right through this agenda, and the next item is comments. We may not have any comments because everyone's pretty quiet today. We'll start at that end. Bubba?
I just, like Stephen said, I look forward to the next 6 months. It's going to be exciting. We got a lot of things happening between the sidewalks and the poles and the signage, and you need to heal up, Trey, because we're going to need you. We're going to need all boots on the ground.
Not that kind of boot.
Not yet. Not that kind of- That's it. Thank you, Pat.
I was going to say, I'm sorry I wasn't at the last meeting. Maybe I shouldn't come because apparently y'all made a lot of headway. So maybe it was me the whole time. A couple comments. I think our revenues look better than what we anticipated in the past, you know, looking forward. I think this thing is actually coming to fruition. I want to thank the city staff for their help. And unfortunately, I did break my ankle bones in 2 places and have been on crutches for 3 weeks, and I have a little scooter. And I'm telling you that because I've learned that flat pavement is a lot easier to travel on than cobblestone pavers. So I was a big paver, I was a proponent, but I can tell you that I have run across cracks in that thing and it tries to slam the brakes on. So there is some merit to the ADA. Flat surfaces work good.
The only thing I have, last time, Stephen, you presented us with our name plates, and I forgot to thank you. And that was very thoughtful of that. And if things aren't going good, I'm just going to turn it around. But did appreciate that very much. Really have no other comments. Things are really moving along, and that's great. I'm excited, just like Bubba is.
Ron?
Well, I'm sorry I'm late. I missed the whole meeting. But you can show me a present. And Alton, I would suggest that if things go wrong, you put up another nameplate. Yeah, it would work better. But appreciate all the progress everybody's making, and I'm sorry I was late.
And I'm sorry I missed the last meeting. I appreciate your understanding on that. And frankly, Trey, I'm very sorry you had to break your ankle in 2 places to learn that a smooth surface is an easier surface. I'm sorry that you had to do that. I mean that sincerely. I greatly appreciate the efficiency with which things are moving forward, and glad you all got a lot done last month, and I thank you for that. And thanks for the nameplate.
The Lord works in mysterious ways. I learn it constantly.
No comment. I really am sorry you had to learn it that way because you've been a strong proponent of bricks.
I thought bricks looks good.
But I think bricks are wonderful.
I'm excited to see some progress after all these years, so looking forward to it.
All right, one team, and we are on the road to success. So every month, I think we're going to have accelerating progress. So thank you all. And with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. So moved. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Thank you.